guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is Real Crime Uncovered. On today's episode of Real Crime Uncovered Stories, we would be talking about the story behind the demise of Barrister Godwin Ikoiwak, a native of Eket in Akwa Ibom State. Barrister Godwin Ikoiwak, popularly known as Bugsy by his friends, colleagues, and even family members, was born on the 29th of April 1980. His parents named him Godwin, of course. He's lived his life, went through his primary education, secondary education, university, and of course, he trained as a lawyer and became a qualified lawyer practicing in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Until his demise, Godwin was a principal prosecutor at the Akwa Ibom Ministry of Justice. Bugsy, while on his sojourn here on earth, met a pretty young lady whom he fell in love with, and this young lady is by the name Abasiese Banga Ikoiwak. Currently, that is her name. He met her sometimes in Akwa Ibom State, and the duo fell in love with themselves. Their relationship went on for a while until they decided to take that relationship to another level, and that was when they walked the altar in April 2017. So Bugsy and Abasiese got married, and their union thus far has been blessed with beautiful young kids. However, the duo were not living in the same city. They were not living together in the same city, and that was due to the nature of their jobs in different cities. They had to reside in different cities. While Abasiese was working in Calabar, her husband Godwin was working in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. They only intervisit themselves during special occasions, maybe during anniversaries and holidays, but they never really lived for a long time on the same roof as husband and wife. The news of Godwin Ikoiwak's death broke on the 21st of January 2022, and it was unclear as to what exactly caused the sudden demise of Godwin Ikoiwak. Now, while burial arrangements were ongoing, people were mourning, his wife was mourning, his family were mourning, his friends, his colleagues were mourning. Some people, however, had questions as to what exactly led to the untimely demise of Godwin Ikoiwak. His family was not left out in these speculations and predictions. So 6 months after the demise of Godwin Ikoiwak, his family spoke out. This time they were crying out loudly and boldly. They were crying for justice for their son, and they were calling on the federal government, the state government, and the police to help them unravel what the actual cause of their son's death was. Now, when Godwin died, his wife said she was told by the doctors from the hospital where he had driven himself to that he died of asthma attack. After Godwin died, his family suspected foul play, and they felt something was not adding up. So they decided to go for an autopsy. An autopsy was carried out, and as against the initial reports that they had gotten from his wife saying he died of asthma attack, based on the report she was given at the St. Luke's Hospital, Anua in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, the autopsy report revealed that there was a substance in his system that actually led to his death, and that substance was said to be sniper. Now, that autopsy report raised a whole lot of questions. Why would Godwin consume sniper? who could have given him sniper. After all the questions, the whys, the whos, the family of Godwin narrowed down their suspicion to one person, and that was no other person but Abasiese Barr Ikoiwak, the young wife of late Godwin Ikoiwak, barrister Abasiese Barr. Now you would want to ask at this point, why would a young wife with young kids for her husband want to kill her husband? Right. Now, the members of Godwin's family had alleged that Godwin had a rocky marriage with his wife and that it was not all rosy in that marriage. They had series of allegations against Abasiese, and as far as they are concerned, Abasiese has questions to answer, and that they were going to ensure she provides. After Godwin's family made the call for justice to be served, they went further to engage the police, and the police arrested Abasiese Godwin's widow. They arrested her mother, and her brothers were also named as suspects but were not found to be arrested as they were at large at the time arrests were being made. Some doctors in the St. Luke Hospital Anwa Uyo, where Godwin was said to have died, were also arrested, and a reverend father was also arrested, all in connection to Godwin's death. Now, as far as Godwin's family is concerned, these people have a question to answer. They believe there was a conspiracy to kill Godwin, and that they are determined to prove to the court. Abasiese was, however, arraigned before a high court sitting in Uyo, and her trial has since begun. Abasiese's mom was, however, granted bail. Some of the doctors were also granted bail, as well as the reverend father, but her brothers are still at large based on our findings. But Abasiese remained in the custody of the correctional services in Akwa Ibom State while her trial is ongoing. She, of course, is a charge for murder, and the conspiracy for murder, including the doctors who were charged for giving fake medical report. Now, since the commencement of the trial, the prosecution has called several witnesses, and just recently the prosecution called a seventh witness, who happened to be a friend of the deceased Godwin Ikoiwak, and this friend of his goes by the name Sonny Anyanwu. According to Sonny's testimony in court recently, he told the court that his friend Godwin had called him prior his death and informed him that he was having issues with his wife surrounding infidelity. He said Godwin reliably informed him that his wife was having extramarital affairs with her former boss, a lawyer also. His name I would withhold at this point. He alleged that she was having an affair with her former boss. He also alleged to his friend that the 19-year-old housemaid who has been living in his wife under the guise of his wife's younger brother has been discovered by him to be his wife's son. Now that is tricky, right? This seventh witness, Sonny Anyanwu, also alleged that Godwin had informed him that while his wife was working as a maid some years back for a Reverend Father Maurice Meke, that she got pregnant for him, allegedly, and gave birth to a son whom she named after her maternal grandfather, and she disguised that child of hers as her younger brother, whom has been in their home as a housemaid, but never disclosed that that was her child. He also alleged that Godwin informed him that he reported his wife to her family, and her family invited him over for a discussion. And in his testimony, Mr. Anyanwu stated that his friend Godwin Ikoiwak honored the invitation of his in-laws so they could discuss further on the fears he had concerning his wife. But Sonny Anyanwu stated in court that when his friend honored that invitation, he did not return alive. Wow. Well, we're getting right into the details. These reports have been making the rounds on the internet, and people have since expressed their shock, their concern, and some are of the opinion that how far can this gender go? Talking about the gender that took the fruit from the snake, the gender that gave the apple to Adam. People have expressed serious worries, like how far can this gender go? Why would a woman bring in her 19 years old son into her home and lie to her husband that that is her younger brother? People have asked series of questions and are wondering if they actually know their spouses as they think they do. Well, there is more to the story. You just sit tight. So before we proceed, quickly, have you subscribed to this channel yet? Please, if you haven't subscribed, I need you to subscribe to this channel so we can grow this channel and bring you more of real crime stories in our society. Now, while still trying to understand all the revelations made in court by the seventh witness, Mr. Sonny Anyanwu, I stumbled on the version of Abasiese Banga Ikoiwak, the widow of deceased Godwin Ikoiwak. Now, according to Abasiese's side of the story, she said, as against the circulated news on social media claiming she had a rocky marriage and claiming she was someone who was capable of hurting or even killing her husband, she said those are all lies. She said she had a happy marriage with her husband, she had a beautiful home, and she had a cordial relationship with her husband even up to the point of his death. Now, in Abasiese's story, she said her husband had visited them for Christmas since they were living in different cities. She was in Calabar and he was in Uyo. He had spent the Christmas with them and then returned back to his base in Uyo on the 7th of January. And she said sometimes on the 20th of January 2022, early hours of that day, she got a call from her husband, Godwin, who reliably informed her that he wasn't feeling well. And she said she has known her husband to be asthmatic. According to her, he in fact told her he's been asthmatic from childhood. And she said that is a medical history that his family knows, but have since deliberately refused to disclose to the public because they allegedly want to paint her in a bad light. She went further to state that days preceding the death of her husband, she sent her husband 500 naira recharge card because he had jokingly teased her that women do not give. And she said when he received the recharge card, he applauded and rained praises on her, but then said jokingly he knows she will find a way to get that money back. So she went further to describe how peaceful and lovely her marriage with her husband was. Now, she said when she got that call on the 20th of January 2022 about her husband's ill health, a call from him, by the way, she decided she was going to go down to Uyo to give him the required attention. She took off very early from Calabar to Uyo so she could attend to her husband. And in her words, she was barely into Akwa Ibom state when she got a call on her husband's number, but that time around it wasn't her husband speaking to her, it was a strange person. And this person told her or asked her to go to the St. Luke Hospital in Anua, Uyo State, where her husband was. So she moved straight down to the hospital instead of going to her husband's house. And when she got there, she met this person who directed her to the ward where her husband was. Unfortunately, on getting there, her husband was already dead. Now, that is frightening. He was already dead. And she began to ask the hospital what happened to her husband and all of those. She went further out to look for the man who had called her and who had directed her to the ward where her husband was. But she couldn't find this strange man anymore. And she didn't know him. She didn't know his name. She knew nothing about this man. So his body was deposited in the morgue. Now, according to Abasiese, it was not as though there was any challenge in her marriage. The family of Godwin, however, did not buy into the medical report as to the cause of death of their son. Like I said, they went for an autopsy. And that autopsy report revealed that Godwin had a deadly substance in his system that was named to be sniper. And that was the cause of his death. And his lips were said to be burnt. On his body, there were said to have been marks on his neck and other parts of his body. Now, those were even the signs that prompted his family to go for an autopsy. Now, having laid down these sides of the story, I'm sure you're wondering why Abasiese's mother was arrested and why her brothers are also named as suspects. Oh well, according to the testimony of his friend Sonny Anyanwu, he said Godwin had informed him before his death that his wife's family invited him for a meeting. Remember? A meeting which the friend Anyanwu claims that when he went for that meeting, he did not return alive. Now, there are different sides, different stories, and everything seems muddled up. It's confusing, but that is why we have the courts. And remember, he who alleges was proof. It is good that they are following through with this case to ensure that justice is served. If really his wife Abasiese was involved, the truth will unravel. But according to Abasiese, she alleged that the reason why her husband's family is hell-bent on naming her as a suspect in her husband's death is because they just want to take whatever they perceive her husband left behind. And she said it is because they did not like her in the first place. These allegations, we do not know how true. These allegations, yes, are weighty. Even the allegations of Ese killing her husband, these are weighty allegations. But we can't do more than trust on our justice system. It is safe to say at this point that this matter is yet to be decided. The trial is ongoing. And we can only hope that justice will prevail at the end of the day based on truth. Abasiese has alleged that her husband's family is using their power, using their connection to rope her into the death of her husband and to get her to be incarcerated for what she has not done. While the family of Ikoiwak Godwin are strongly alleging that Abasiese has a hand in the death of her husband and needs to answer for that. Guys, this is a difficult situation, but we trust the courts to do justice on this matter, and we hope that justice will prevail. Now, Father Maurice Meke, who was alleged to have fathered the 19-year-old son of Abasiese Banga, came out on social media to release a statement in which he described all the allegations as malicious and calculated to dent his image. According to Father Maurice Mackey, he has never had a house help at any point. And he said he never knew Abasiese Banga nor her husband until 2020, when he was posted to a parish where they were already members. Father Maurice Mackey also stated that he has no child, neither biological nor adopted. He has never had a child, and he has no child currently, not biological, not adopted. And he said to further put a permanent rest on these malicious allegations against his person, he is willing to submit himself for a DNA test with the 19-year-old boy in question. And now I think that is incredible. If truly he is the father, the DNA would not lie. And if he isn't, again, the DNA would not lie. He, with a free conscience, fear no accusation, they say, right? Different people have since expressed different opinions concerning this particular case. Some are of the opinion that could it be that the family of deceased Godwin is truly using power and connection to intimidate his wife, while others have also expressed their opinions that could it be that Abasiese is just trying to buy public sympathy by alleging that her husband's family is using power connection to intimidate her. At this point, people are wondering, people are asking, having read Abasiese's version of her story and the version of the family of Godwin Ikoiwak and the ongoing trial in court, people are asking, did Abasiese really kill her husband? Is Godwin's family actually using their power, connection, resources to frame up Abasiese? These questions and more will be laid to rest soon when the judgment of the court is delivered on this matter. This is really a very, very sad story, and the coming weeks ahead will be very interesting on this matter, and I promise to bring you updates on the judgment of the court as soon as judgment is delivered on this matter. In the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of your emotions, take care of your mental health. Be kind to yourself, be kind to the people around you, and always stay safe. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and do share this video so we can have more subscribers and dwell on telling you real crime stories in our society. I remain Dorcas Ige Olukun, and I love you.